Hey guys, Kamina the coach here. Sorry it's kind of dark. It's right before I'm going to work and I'm so excited that I have to get this information down. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kamina the coach. I can't change the description of this channel. It was originally dedicated to helping people get their minds right to get overseas to teach if that was what they wanted to do. Then COVID came and I had to rededicate the channel because I had to run back to the United States. And thank goodness, because I got to start working on really deep early childhood trauma related to adoption trauma. So I love studying the brain. I love when spirituality and science collide. So I've been doing a lot of brain studying recently because I've not been in the best place. I've not been in the most healthy place. And I recognize that I can control that, but it takes a lot of focused effort. So I just want to share a little bit with you, kind of something that I already knew, and it's a little bit of new information as well. So I talk about Einstein and Niels Bohr a lot, talk about the study of particles, and that when Einstein discovered, when he was studying particles, he discovered that when particles were observed, they did something different. And it was very difficult to study particles because when you observed them, you could not predict how they would behave. That thus disproved the theory that everything is predestined. Niels Bohr went on to prove, so I talk about science of karma, that when we act on one particle that was created in the same catastrophic event, it then affects every other particle, thus proving karma. I love that. That's my favorite fact. But so what I looked at today, I love watching Science World. There's a panel of scientists discussing some issue. So I just got done watching something on free will and the debate about does free will exist. And I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it so I get the scientists' names. But a long time ago, there was a study that actually proved that there's actually something going on in the brain before we make the conscious decision to do something, thus disproving the fact that we have free will. Okay, so it goes hand in hand with what Einstein was studying, the observation of particles changes what they're doing, essentially saying that free will does not exist, that there are things going on in the brain that we are not conscious of that are causing us to act in one way or another. Very interestingly enough, when they study what teaching people about this does for their ideas about punitiveness, how we punish people, it really made people more compassionate in understanding that we don't necessarily have control. No, I'm not saying there's a devil that has control, but what I would suggest is, and I have talked about in other videos, is that how you talk to children, how children are parented or not parented in early life causes a rewiring or negative shaping of neural pathways in the brain. Negative, positive, a pathway, we're developing a pathway in the brain that is ultimately not beneficial in modern day society. Can we say it like that instead of saying the polarized? A lot of times people say, just get over it. I know that people have said that to me a lot. Just get over it. Just choose to do something else. But because of that early childhood trauma, we have had these pathways in the brains reinforced, and we've had pruning, so falling away of other pathways that people that were in healthy households or people that had pathways enforced in ways that were beneficial to them. These pathways then grew and became stronger. Those of us that were in households where we were neglected, not loved and supported the way that we should have, we were in fear for our lives or safety, just not loved or held in the way that we needed to be, we have shaped a different set of neural pathways in our brain that end up not serving us the way that we would like in a modern day world. What does that mean? It means that in this world, the choices that we're making are not consciously our choices. And well, everybody, not consciously our choices, but a lot of people making really, really bad choices, or what society calls really, really bad choices, didn't actually choose that. It was programmed into them. That pathway was designed. The really good news is this: even though we lose the ability to program our eyes past a certain age, the other paths of our brain, emotional path of our brain, the fear center of our brain, the cognitive centers of our brain, those parts of our brains remain plastic as we get older. Beautiful thing about psilocybin and magic mushrooms is that they make your brain more plastic, and in that time you're able to do some more rewiring than and with less work than in an unaltered state. But you can do it in an unaltered state, right? You don't need a drug or an outside substance to do this rewiring. You just need the knowledge about what has gone on, what has happened. So with this knowledge that you potentially are making, it's not potentially, it's been proven, you are not making decisions based on conscious choices. These pathways, it is your brain making these decisions for you. And the wiring of the brain, the reason why the brain is making these choices is because of what happened or didn't happen to you when you were young. So what do you do about that now if these choices that your brain is making for you is not serving you? Well, I'm trying to wrap this up pretty quickly because I've got to go to work soon. So let me drop a little more science on you. I don't know all the scientific names for the parts of the brain. Prefrontal cortex, responsible for cognition and movement. Hypothalamus, hippocampus, one of those, what starts with an H, responsible for fear, anxiety, and stress. And then there's another part here that is a valuable part of the brain that's controlling stuff we want. So you've got here and here, good parts of the brain, center of the brain controlling fear, anxiety, and depression. So when you are feeling large amounts of fear, anxiety, stress, and depression, the hippocampus grows, the part that controls fear and stress. It's growing. You're enforcing those neural pathways, and the part that is controlling cognition and movement, and the part that is controlling positive emotion is actually shrinking. So what do we do to grow the parts that we want? And actually, as those stress centers grow and we have increased levels of cortisol, the body begins to break down and we begin to get sick, and we are more susceptible to disease. I am definitely a picture of that. I look like health on the outside, but definitely my body is breaking down on the inside because I continue to allow myself to be exposed to increased levels of cortisol and all the negative hormones that go along with stress, anxiety, and depression. Meditation is the number one way. Being present. And if you have a very noisy brain, I love to drop techniques on you that I find that have helped me a lot. So I've experienced an intense shift, and I love to drop like little tidbits on you. Now, it takes a lifetime to build negative habits. It takes at least 30 days to reprogram a habit out of you, but I've found something that you can use that will intensify the work that I hope that you will do. So you have electricity, energy running all through your body. If you place one of your hands on your forehead and another on the back of your brain, while you close your eyes and focus on what you truly want. See it, feel it, smell it, taste it, feel its energy. What does it feel like? What does it look like? For about 30 seconds. What emotion does that invoke in you? So for me, I have been doing patience. So it invokes peace, calm. I'm thrilled at being able to see myself as being patient. As you feel those emotions, they're likely good. Smile, feel it, say those things. They're about 30 seconds. Say what emotions you feel. What does it look like? What does it feel like? So for about 1 minute, you're going to stay in this state, feeling and seeing what you want. Open your eyes, back and forth. What are we doing? So that's like EMDR, eye movement desensitization. We're actually connecting both sides of the brain. Then up, down, diagonal, up and down. The other direction, up, down. We're connecting while you're still focused on what you want, still feeling it in your heart, seeing it back and forth. Figure eight with your eyes. Can you do that? Figure eight. You're connecting both hemispheres of your brain. Can you go the other direction with your figure eight? Still feeling it. So this is not woo-woo stuff. You're activating both sides of the brain, so locking in that emotion of what you want, thus drawing that energy to you. And so the more you experience that thing which you want, you begin to build those pathways in your brain and start to build new neural pathways. When you no longer use the old pathways, something called pruning happens. So those old neurons, those old neural pathways start to actually fall apart. So you can't go back that direction anymore. It takes 30 days dedication, but I personally, I do it about 3 times a day. I do it first thing in the morning, I do it at break time, and I do it right before I go to bed. I've only been doing it for 3 days and I feel a big difference. My coworkers see a big difference. My students see a big difference. So please take this science. Please take this technique. Hopefully knowing that people don't really have a choice will make you more compassionate in how you deal with people. I know that knowing it for me makes me deal with my students differently, makes me more gentle, loving, and kind, understanding that there is programming that's happened in their young brains. And by behaving punitively with them, I am only reinforcing that negative stuff. So be love, light, peace, and joy. I am sending you love, light, peace, and joy. I am Kamina the coach. Until next time.